Happy birthday, Survivor Durant.
Happy birthday, Survivor Durant.
Happy birthday, Survivor Durant.
Happy 10 years.
Survivor Durant, a decade.
Hey everyone, it's been a while. I don't know if you've heard, but it's Survivor Durant's birthday.
Happy birthday, Survivor Durant. Thank you for 10 years of fun games and good times.
Just want a shout out to give Survivor Durant a happy 10-year reunion.
Happy birthday, Survivor. Congratulations on 10 years.
Hey Survivor Durant, this is Gabe Workman. Wanted to wish you a happy 10-year anniversary. This game has been real fun and brought a lot of people together.
This is Steven, a competitor from Season X1, Wishes Over Arabia. I'm here to wish Survivor Durant the happiest of birthdays.
Happy birthday, Survivor Durant Survivor. Those are still one of my best memories. Happy 10th birthday, Survivor Durant.
Happy 10-year birthday. It's an amazing accomplishment.
Hi Survivor Durant, this is Reagan from the 2023 season of Survivor, and I just wanted to say happy birthday and congratulations on 10 years.
Hey, happy birthday, Survivor Durant. 10 amazing years. Congratulations. I pray and I hope that there are many more seasons to come.
To all the people that have enjoyed Survivor, happy 10 years. And hopefully, we enjoy another 10 more years.
Hey guys, it's Brad
and Rochelle
from Season Next.
And we just wanted to wish Survivor Durant a happy 10th birthday.
Happy birthday, guys.
Happy birthday, Survivor Durant. It's been a good 10 years, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Happy birthday, Survivor Durant, the big 1-0.
It's been a wonderful 10 years. We couldn't have done it without each and every one of you who have participated, who have helped with production.
It's crazy that it's been 10 years, and it's been so fun to have seen it grow and change along the way.
Say happy birthday.
It has been my extreme pleasure, privilege, and anxiety-ridden joy to be your host for the last 10 years, a lot of it unplanned. And it is because of you that we've managed to keep our fire burning for this long, and if God willing, another 10 years is sure to come. Today, we're celebrating Survivor Durant's 10th anniversary with this video to talk about the past, the present, and the future of where Survivor Durant is sure to go, which means the LRG hat goes back on, more games to be had. We're going to be talking with some pioneers of Survivor Durant, some people who've been around since season 1. We're going to be talking with some new blood that's on the scene, players who have just finished our most recent season, Survivor Durant Abduction, which took place just 2 weeks ago. They're going to give you their input on where Survivor Durant is currently. And finally, we're going to be talking about Survivor Durant's 2026 and 2027 roadmap. So you'll have a really good understanding of the future for Survivor Durant.
Man, happy birthday, Survivor Durant. Oh, it's been a good decade.
Oh, going back to the first game. Seems so long ago now.
Going back, thinking about the first ever Survivor Durant is such a wild thing for me to do, that it's been 10 years ago and so much has changed in 10 years.
I remember just me and a bunch of my people I consider my best friends and brothers just having competition, going out at night, just acting crazy, being fools, just having fun with each other.
Just a bunch of guys living in a house together who just want to compete for the sake of masculinity or superiority over one another, and how, childish but yet fun and exciting that was to be able to do that with a bunch of close friends.
When I think about how 10 years ago it was just a bunch of college kids doing dumb things with their friends, pouring cold water and solving puzzles in the dark, I never would have thought that 10 years later it would be actual TV time, actual things that we could see on a national level. It's crazy. It all started so simple, just people wanting to have fun together, wanting to do life together.
Man, it's something that I look back and I can cherish just how it drew me and my friends together in playing this competitive sort of game.
Plan it all going into the first game of Survivor Durant. All it was going and see what happened.
I just remember a lot of trash talk in our house, as living in a house full of young college guys who, everything was a competition.
Cole Brentz had told me, he's like, hey, do you want to have a final two? And I was like, sure, we're roommates, why not?
We started late after a BCM Crossroads event, so we probably didn't even start the game till 9 p.m. And I believe that it closed out around 5 a.m.
That's where I probably broke many people's trust in me during that game.
The very first challenge that we did, we only had 2 teams or 2 tribes, and we were marked by red and blue bandanas. Great color choice. And so we're outside, and it's a game of kind of a combination of spoons as well as like an egg balancing competition and like a relay race. And so I don't remember the exact details of the game, but I do remember we were at 311 North 4th Street in Durant, and there's a parking lot across from the house, and we're all gathered up outside, and there's 13 of us out there, half of us wearing red bandanas, half of us wearing blue bandanas, bunch of shady college kids already, probably 10:30 at night. And in the middle of this challenge, I remember 3 cop cars just pulling in, all like surrounding us in this parking lot. And people started, hide the bandanas, because like then we realized what we look like we're having some turf war out in the middle of Durant. Now I remember one of the cops getting out of their cars and coming towards us, hand on the hip type thing, thinking they were, showing up to something exciting, which it was very exciting. But I remember the first cop, I was like, hey, let me talk to him. And I said, hey, I know what this looks like, but if you wait about 30 seconds, some big guy's going to come piling out of the front door of that house across the street with a spoon and an egg. And this cop was like, don't try to. And about that time, Luke Kaufman comes bursting out the door, who's about, I don't know, 6'4", like pushing 300, big dude, like O lineman for Southeastern, comes out with a bandana wrapped around his head, balancing an egg on a spoon. And I'll never forget the look on that cop's face when he realized that we were just a bunch of nerds hanging out. And they were kind of bummed. They thought they were about to get into some gang violence, and instead they just ran into a friendly competition in the middle of Durant.
Realized that a certain person was calling all the shots every single time, and realizing they were setting themselves up to be the winner, and that being Dylan Lemons, and realized I couldn't just let him just keep calling the shots over and over again.
So Briar Henry, one of my dearest friends, is probably been the biggest thorn in my side in every competitive game we've ever played together. And it started with the very first season of Survivor Durant, where he kind of backslid and went with the other team, which even later on that game, he would do the same thing to vote me out. And I believe actually in the next 2 games, Briar Henry would be the catalyst by which I left the game. And so for the last decade, I have referred to Briar Henry as a snake in the grass.
Dylan, what's Survivor Durant without a good blind side? So come on in.
Oh, I'm always down for a blind side. Oh, B. Henry, the snake in the grass. What's up?
Long-time rival. I've been a thorn in his side for many years playing games, both inside Survivor Durant, outside Survivor Durant, even just playing any games in general. I'd give my life for the dude, he'd give his life for me in anything but a game.
I could trust him with my life, but I can't trust him with the win.
started out season 1, like, I was misinterpreted how a vote was supposed to go. We were all supposed to vote for Luke. I misinterpreted the vote because saw Dylan walk away. He's like, "You were going to vote for Samson, right?" And everybody was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Oh, the plans changed. We're voting for Robbie Sampson." And therefore, I vote for Robbie Sampson, making the vote a tie. And
but he just said that in front of Luke because you have to tell a name to Luke.
Yeah. And so I misinterpreted it as a plan change, and I went back to voting Luke out after I realized, the plan hadn't changed. Then I voted Luke, which led to me being, I think, the second person voted out because I flip-flopped back up.
Yeah, you look like a flip-flopper, but you just misunderstood.
Yeah.
It is funny to see, though, that, like, our rivalry literally kind of started off of a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
You hearing me say something to somebody to like sway their...
To sway
how they viewed something, you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that must be it." And then that turned it into like, "Briar, you betrayed us." And then how that's just carried on through like a decade.
Yeah. A full decade.
A decade of games.
Yeah.
Oh, Luke Kaufman. Yeah, so he got voted out, I think, right after he saved us from going to jail. Being the first person ever voted out of Survivor Durant is an honor and a privilege for Luke, I think, to speak on his behalf. I do remember him being pretty salty about it, though. Yeah, we knew Luke would be a threat, too. I mean, he's a big guy. He's super intelligent. He's physical. And Luke was a Survivor fan. He was definitely the most excited, probably out of all of us, to play. And so a couple of us paired together to make sure he didn't see it to the end. Because that's what friends do, guys. That's what friends do.
Challenging Survivor, the first Survivor Durant, we had the Final Four. It was Dylan Lemons, Cole Brentz, Robbie Sampson, and Bobby Cox. They're all laying on the ground, and we all had ice, and we just got to pour ice all over them.
Man, I do remember in that first game laying on the gravel in our backyard and y'all pouring ice over the top of us. I distinctly remember that being probably the worst challenge in all of the games that I've played.
And it was a cold night out there. We were running around shirtless, been getting sweaty and all that, and then pouring ice certainly didn't help.
Yeah, it was cold already, and then adding ice on top of us. And I don't even know where they got that much ice. I mean, because I remember at one point being almost my entire upper body was completely covered.
Yeah, I remember
in ice.
we were basically like almost making like sculptures out of y'all's upper bodies on the ground.
Yeah, that was brutal. I remember in the first 3 games that thankfully I got to play in, leading up to the games, there was about a week-long scavenger hunt for an idol or for a clue or for something that would benefit you in the game, which led to us, again, roaming around Durant in the middle of the night, typically on public places, courthouses, things like that.
The first game we played was just fun games, and the second, third were important for us. We were raising money for missions, which I wholeheartedly agreed was a good platform for us to have this game on.
After the first Survivor Durant game, where we played primarily in what we called the Man House, the next 2 that followed were in the woods behind the old BCM. And man, it was awesome. It was a new element for us. It kind of raised the stakes of the feel of being, out in the wilderness and actually having to survive.
From a short span of time playing a whole game, having to get like 12 people out before we get down to the final 2, just going.
Yeah, I do remember those first games. Yeah. It was something you had to like mentally prepare yourself for, just because like mental fatigue.
Yeah.
You had things that you had to combat of running in the dark through brush and trees.
You have a challenge. You got 20 minutes to figure out if you're on the losing team who you're voting for, and if you're on the winning team, you got 20 minutes to try and find an advantage or an idol or something.
Yeah.
Something to prepare you for the next game. So you're just like I said, you're just going.
The beginning of what it looked like to look for idols and hidden clues in the woods.
So season 3 came along and we started introducing a lot of new and younger people into the game.
Nate and Mason and Chris and Ryan, who have now become these like kind of pillars of Survivor Durant. Great players.
It was fun seeing new people start to get fully engaged in this game.
Season 3, where a lot of these guys would play to, we fast forward to now, 10 years, and the amount of games that they've won and the amount of memories that have been made with this same group of, at that point, strangers who are now friends is really exciting to see just how not only the game has grown, but how it grew friendships even within our community.
When I heard about Survivor Durant Season 3, I was ecstatic to play, excited to put what knowledge I had of the game to the test. I've been watching my whole life, so I thought, you know what, this is gonna be awesome.
The main thing I remember about Season 3 is just the competitions and sitting in the woods. I remember the competitions being like kind of quirky and fun, and I remember winning a lot of them, so that was also just a good time.
I was very much an unsuspecting college student that never had any exposure to Survivor before, but I just wanted new experiences, wanted to do something, and one of my friends, old Mason Harrell, did know a thing or two about Survivor and wanted me to play, and I said, sure, why not?
Nate was somebody that I was kind of like getting him into Survivor at the time. He was starting to watch it with me, and so we were really excited to play. And little did I know that Nate's a prodigy at Survivor. He was one of the people that, despite not having much knowledge, his practice of politicalness and like knowing how to navigate and put himself in the right position socially gave him such an edge.
Going into Season 3, I definitely wouldn't have seen myself as a long-term person that would be involved with the community. I can definitely say I would have seen that with Ryan and Mason, just for their stewardship and love of the game.
It's really exciting to look back and think about like that's where some of us started, but I had no idea what was to come.
So what I remember the most about Season 3 is that when I got out there, all of that knowledge of the game that I thought that I had, it did not transition into playing the game very well.
We had like a frozen Sonic drink, and we had to eat like all the ice and the lemon and the lime and the cherries and all of that came with it. And I was like sitting on the curb like shaking and just like, I was like, I have to win, I have to win. And I don't know why my competitive side really kicked in.
You want to talk about rudimentary challenge. They had us blindfold running down that hill in Mirkwood saying, oh, there's mousetraps all down there. You just got to run down that hill blindfolded.
Not only us three as the newbies, but I think Dylan playing that season was very big. We saw for the first time that Dylan seemed to have trouble with that mafioso style play and maybe needed to adapt the next time that he came back.
And I do remember parts of figuring out how to mentally divide this group of individuals with one of my dear friends, Jake Hole, who would actually go on to win that game. I don't remember exactly how we did it, but essentially we convinced best friends that they were at odds.
I remember Lena, at the time, I was very, very afraid of Lena's gameplay. She was somebody that I found as intimidating in the game, just due to things that had happened prior to. And as it turned out, she was who had found the pregame advantage that I searched so hard for. And then I attempted to hide a fake advantage, which I didn't know was not legal at the time.
I got sabotaged in that game. One of the competitors had brought Jack in the Box tacos for all of us, and I got food poisoning out of it, so I'll say that is what ended my Survivor time in that, food poisoning.
One of my favorite parts of it was all the connections and relationships that I was able to build that, may not have had the opportunity to otherwise. And frankly, I still see that as a big reason why I enjoy playing Survivor games.
Definitely got to enjoy seeing these newbies, so to speak, start playing and seeing how their strategies were different, and eventually these guys would become the future of Survivor Durant.
season 4, there's a pretty big transition from Mirkwood over to the front lawn of Southeastern, and the front lawn would end up being, over the next few seasons, our kind of main hub of where these games took place.
So I took a step back from playing games and I started helping out with doing background, like setting up games and being actually part of the games. The reason being is that from our first 3 games going forward, we just noticed the game's getting bigger.
My headspace going into that game was, well, for one thing, I showed up not knowing that game was going to happen, because that was Terror of the Troll. So as far as we were made aware, we were showing up to summer reindeer games.
Season 4 was unique. Was not prepared to play a Survivor game of any capacity.
Surprise, we're playing Survivor. It's Terror of the Troll.
So season 4, Terror of the Troll, the idea came to me from just thinking about, like, the first 3 games, like, towards the end, it got all serious, you know. There would be some times where people's feelings got hurt. Not that there wasn't reconciliation that came afterward, but, like, the thought is, like, why have a game where, like, everybody's feelings get hurt? Why not have a game where it's, like, not taken serious at all?
We're in the middle of the Netflix and Chill challenge, and earlier in the challenge, I see that there's a paper that says this is an advantage, about probably 10 to 12 feet past the pole that we have to go run and touch if we get our answer wrong. And after going and touching that pole 20 times or so, I finally decide that I am going to turn my back to the advantage after I touch the pole while everyone else is distracted up here, and I'm going to slowly back up and grab it and just put it in my pants and then continue on. So I'm able to successfully do this. I'm insanely proud of myself that nobody saw it. Like, I don't think anybody knew that I had that. So I go to use the bathroom, get away from everybody, pull it out. I'm super excited to see what this is. I've already got the idol in my pocket, and I open it up and it says, this is just a piece of paper. And so that gave us probably the first biggest clue of how Fiddlefoot and the Terror of the Troll would be working from that point onward.
We wanted to reunite you with someone who you haven't seen since Battle of the Best. Fiddlefoot is here.
Fiddlefoot. You could call him the mascot of Survivor Durant. He's been around since season 4. And it was such a joy. I remember Chess and I standing on my front porch, we were spray painting him, and it's like, how should we spray paint him? And be like, well, one team's going to be blue and one's going to be green. So we just down the middle spray painted him. And since then, he's been a part of Survivor Durant.
What does it mean when he shows up?
It means you're in for a rough time. Rough time.
I mean, fast forwarding a little bit to season 5, you know, that was a big game changer too. We went from the house to the woods to now we were playing on the campus of Southeastern. And man, it was exciting. We had some new guys show up. We had the Ronnie and Peyton and Abby. And again, we're some people who are like perceived as threats, physical players, also personable people, charismatic.
So my first game was Mystery Island Season 5. It was actually a very last minute experience for me. One of my friends was supposed to play and she ended up not being able to, so I kind of stepped in her place.
Yeah, what I remember of season 5, man, I finally felt a lot more confident. I had gotten a few seasons of the normal CBS Survivor watched under my belt.
Survivor, I never really watched it growing up. What I watched was Total Drama Island, so that was kind of like my experience to it.
Great having my boys Ronnie and Peyton come along for the ride.
Learning from it, the fun we had, the games that we played, like all the competition, it was right up my alley. I had a blast.
I got to be on production for season 5, and when Cheston asked me to come on and help him, I was a little disappointed at first because I was like, what? I just won, like I want to like keep playing, but I also had told Cheston that I would help him one day if I ever won the game, and so I wanted to keep that promise.
Also, it's the first time we ever had 3 tribes, and so that was kind of a new thing for us. We had a bunch of new challenges, some twists and turns there. That game would end up even switching locations, which was a whole nother, kind of wrench in the cogs, if you will. And it would end up being finished out at Carl Albert Park.
And little did I know that designing Season 5, Mystery Island, was going to be, I think, the linchpin that helped us carry Survivor Durant forward into the next generation.
Arguably, Season 5 really was a bedrock for a lot of continual continuity through the rest of Survivor Durant. And just being able to have a piece of that season to carry with is so fond. And really just the relationships that came out of that as well.
Tokens are a big part of the game now, and what's crazy is we saw this token thing happening in the real game of Survivor, and it was happening like around the same time that Cheston had this idea about tokens in the game.
I think that the tokens are a really cool aspect of the game because they add something that you can put as much time and effort in as you want to go and to hunt for them and to look for them and to use them for what they're intended to use for, or you can really not put any time into them at all. I personally am not good at finding things, so I would search and not really find a lot.
These tokens being scattered all throughout the wilderness give you a reason to say, okay, hey, my social game feels pretty good. I'm gonna go look for some tokens and maybe try to help get an advantage in the game.
From what I remember from Season 5 on the tokens was if you found so many tokens that if you were voted out, you had a chance to pay the ferryman, I believe that's who it was, to fight your way back into the competition.
It's interesting to see, though, from Season 5 where tokens did play a part. Just wasn't like a huge, significant part to how, Season 6 and 7 and up to Battle of the Best where, tokens could mean, you go home.
I think the evolution of tokens is what helped Survivor Durant kind of hit that next stage of opening the game wide up, because they accomplish a few things. I think the first thing they accomplish is that early in the game, they give you a reason to go out and look for things. One of the issues that we were starting to see with Survivor Durant is that nobody wanted to split up and go do anything because they're not incentivized to.
It would be, wielded as a part of your strategy to win the game. And so that was really cool and exciting, added a new layer to the game, as well as something new to look for, which I think was important. It helps people be more intentional with every moment of the game.
They've taken various forms, like Mystery Island, I can't remember exactly what they were called. They may have just been tokens, but we had coins in Assassin's Greed, we had runes in Twist of Fate, so they've kind of all taken on their own thing, all the way up to like chore tokens and fire tokens and those sorts of things in Battle of the Best.
The last game that I played personally was the Battle of the Best, and to see just the growth and transformation of the game has just been really exciting and really cool thing to see something grow up as we also have grown up.
This is such a huge honor bestowed upon me. Like, somebody else could have had my spot, but I'm considered good enough to be in this game.
So the all-star season of Survivor Durant, Battle of the Best, I was very excited, but also very nervous.
To play with people who had all played before was super fun, and it was definitely a different type of game.
And then, of course, there was a taxing amount of mental preparation for that game.
All the first Survivor games where they're just day-long interactions to, Battle of the Best, which was over 3 days, definitely brought in that survivor instinct. It really submerged you in like what this was. Like, we're not playing just a version of this game anymore. Like, we are playing Survivor.
It was cool to be able to really walk around and get space from people and not know where people were at all times.
A multi-day Survivor with a chance to win a lot of money and really put my skills to the test and see if I had what it takes to stand up against a real hard cast of players to play against.
It was also really hard to play a multi-day game just because you have to be constantly thinking Survivor for multiple days in a row, which is already hard to do when you play for 12 or 15 hours in one day, and then just going to bed and waking up and immediately starting, sometimes in the middle of the night, and immediately starting to play again was really mentally taxing.
And then even more so to be able to play that game with people that are not regular Durant people, you know, Kirk Carlson, TSL.
Kirk Carlson, like we didn't even know each other, and then coming into that game and getting to spend time with him, that was such a cool aspect for me. You know, a lot of times we will come in contact with people that we don't know, and we immediately begin to have preconceived notions. And what really happens when you spend time with people, you know, your opinions change, right? Like when you begin to see someone for who they are, and you get little aspects of their life, you know, even outside of the game itself, it's really cool how you can bond with somebody over such a short period of time, just given the circumstance.
And seeing them play, it was just like a realization, like, wow, like we're hitting some hot shots from different parts of the country and from out of the country to come and play these games and be like, it's time to step up and like see what we can do.
Knowing that they're the best, would you rather keep them around, knowing how dangerous they are, or keep Dylan around?
Now, you know, 10 seasons later, we are getting people that basically do this as their main hobby. They do it as professional as you can without actually being on the real show.
It is a very humbling thought to look back and see, you know, where Survivor Durant started as a backyard game versus now that we have people flying internationally to come in and play. It's just a testament to the work that has been put in.
And I think it's been interesting too to also have those masters of the game come in and get met with the challenges of Survivor Durant, because we are such a unique show and unique game with how we do our twists and how you have to elevate your gameplay in order to take advantage of the season.
When it was announced that there were, you know, outside players coming to play, my thought was, thank God.
We have players coming from not just out of state but out of country to come compete in this game that we started at a borderline frat house was intimidating, to say the least. You know, it put the pressure on. I remember Cheston's opening speech of, you know, pressure makes diamonds, and so we're here to see what you guys are made of by applying the pressure. And then, you know, seeing them walk out, not knowing who they were, but just knowing that, you know, they were the best from where they were coming from, just added a whole nother level of, you know, competitive edge.
Man, who do you think are some of the best, Briar?
I think some of the best are definitely, we've talked about her already, but Ryan.
I think it's crazy that I'm considered one of the best, because I think that there are a lot of people who are better than me at this game that have played Survivor Durant before.
One of the biggest competitors is probably Ryan. She is a powerhouse.
It's really fun and exciting for me. I'm like honored in a lot of ways, because it means a lot for people to think highly of me in any sense, especially in like a competitive gameplay sense. So it means a lot.
I'd say Jacobs season 3 was very competitive.
Jacobs is a good competitor. He's personable, physical. He's got some drive for sure. You know, I think it'd be doing some injustice to not bring Nate into the category too.
Yes.
I mean, I think Nate holds the most wins.
He is he is the best that Durant has to offer so far as he proved himself in Battle.
Yeah, he did win Battle the Best.
I believe Nate, I mean, he just really, really understands the social game of it.
I think one pillar that we should hit, another person in the community that especially if you guys have watched Battle of the Best, you will know this person, and why we're talking about them is Gabe.
I like Gabe.
Yeah, he was fun.
Gabe first played in season 6, Assassin's Creed, and he played a phenomenal game. He was very much viewed, I think, by all of production and many of the players as the person most likely to win.
I definitely think he was a good competitor, but he was just a fun dude to hang out with while playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked old Gabe.
Probably made the most infamous play of all of Survivor Durant history with turning on Peyton and giving him the cursed idol.
Mason, he's done right. He's played multiple games, and he's proven himself more often than not, and like into being like very wily and very good.
Yeah, he's definitely a threat. I mean, 100%. If Mason's in a game, he is a threat.
I think that it's been really fun to be able to watch a lot of people that I know play this game, like Nate and Mason and Ronnie, Gabe, Peyton.
You know, like Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie's a great competitor too, and to see him come in, you know, way back when to competing in Battle of the Best, like, man, that's awesome.
I really want to say, and I'm so sorry, Ronnie, was when I got you out in season 6 in Assassin's Creed. I feel like that was one of my best moments because you really didn't see it coming, and
I mean, there's so many good players, though. I mean, really, you look at Battle of the Best, and I mean, you could line up that whole squad.
It's hard for Battle of the Best for me because that was a very hard time. It was a very hard pill to swallow, leaving first. You know, I
think Abby, maybe more than anybody, has had the biggest arc as a contestant in Survivor Durant.
This is Battle of the Best, and I was playing against the best, and unfortunately my best just wasn't good enough in that game.
But Abby has really made that full arc and shown that she can position herself well strategically and socially, and we saw it time and time again.
Everybody there, like, if circumstances had been different, probably by just like 1 or 2 points, anybody could have come out on top in that game.
I think this is probably not something that people would think, but from specifically Battle of the Best, I think one of the deepest things for me was how hard it was to write Mason's name down the parchment.
Obviously, Cheston's first game was just, you know, this backyard thing that we talked about, and by the time it hit season 3, it was a fundraiser to help send people overseas on mission trips. And I think Battle of the Best really kind of helped launch what was going to be the next step in ministry with Survivor Durant, because we had so many people just openly talk about their faith, you know, without being prompted, without you know, being told like, hey, this is the goal that we're going to talk about these things. Like that was not said at all. Nobody told us that. But you see it in the episodes of Battle of the Best that, you know, pretty much the entire cast, like that is a believer, you know, talks about their faith, and there were important conversations that happened around that. And now it's something that, you know, is worked into the themes of the game, and it's always something that's going to be talked about. But the outreach, I think, is important because we have seen people, you know, give their lives to Christ since becoming a part of Survivor Durant. And to be honest, I didn't know realistically if that was something that was going to happen or not, but I've seen it with my own eyes. I shouldn't have needed to. I should have just believed that Jesus will work wherever he is, which is everywhere. And it's been amazing to see that, and I hope to continue seeing that as Survivor Durant continues to grow as a ministry as well as a game.
Happy birthday, Survivor Durant!
What's going on? My name is Lucas.
Hi, my name is Skylar.
This is Jacob. I just played Survivor Durant Abduction.
And it was a ton of fun. I got to meet a lot of people from all over.
We had some people from Dallas, some people from Joplin.
I wanted to play Survivor Durant because it seemed like a lot of fun, and I wanted to prove to myself that I am not some old guy now.
So one of my plans going into this season of Survivor was to be not as aggressive at first, which I was a little aggressive.
I had to adapt to the big twist of the season, having safety in my pocket and everyone else having safety in their pockets.
Everybody had pretty much immunity almost.
The abduction saved me. I probably would have been voted off.
Knowing the moves that everybody was going to make, trying to know when to play my safety.
So I think the power of being able to save yourself, it puts a twist on the game that's exciting, but it can also be a disadvantage.
Trying to work around everybody else's safety.
It also put more stress on the players and on the game because a lot of players were like, well, I'm trying to remember who had their abduction left. So it really put a twist on voting and a lot more stress and a lot more fun in the game.
To anybody on the fence about playing, I would just say, just do it. There's nothing to lose. It's a fun time. You'll get to meet new people.
My advice to give you is go in with confidence. I went in with no background. The only thing is just being a fan behind the screen. I loved the game. I loved watching it. I never imagined playing it. So when the opportunity presented itself, I grabbed it.
Try to figure some things out about it, study it a little bit, and really know how Survivor works.
Go in with an open mind.
In reality, I had so much fun, and it wasn't nearly as stressful as people would lead on to be, or you would think. But it was a blast.
Oh, if I was to get invited to play, I definitely would. I love it. It's something I'm passionate about. I love Survivor.
Absolutely, I would definitely play again.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity because I had a blast. It was so much fun.
I'm excited for the new season to come, and I hope to be a part of it again someday.
The new entry of the safety mechanics in whatever capacity they are, it's so exciting for the game. It requires an extra level of thought that hasn't been there before, which in theory should create better gameplay and better players.
The biggest thing that I would want to see is the continued elevation of gameplay and the elevation of changing the game. For instance, what do I mean by that? I'm thinking of things like the next vote. The next vote in Season 10, the Genie's Lamp, the Magic Wishes in Season 11.
In Survivor Durant Season 11, we had these magic wishes that we were given with at the beginning of the game, where if you felt in danger, you could use them to potentially save yourself.
I think are really the next step in how these strategy games are played. It forces you to take that next step and think about, I can't just go tell someone that they're the target. I have to come up with a way to make it seem like it's somebody else. And I think those are the sorts of things that if we continue to evolve the game in that way, it's just going to continue to get better and better.
And more importantly, it's a whole nother level of opportunity for players that are able to wrap their mind around those mechanics and be able to take advantage of them to skew votes in their favor, which I think is very exciting to see, and I look forward to seeing that blossom even further.
It's an ample way to get people out that have complete blind sides everywhere.
Knowing that everybody in every season is going to have safety in their pocket going forward, it's going to complicate the game in a lot of different ways. People are going to have to adapt to changing their game plan when they first go in to basically know when to play their safety.
I think that's super exciting because now you really have to be on guard and know who's going out, know who has it, keeping track of who has theirs, who doesn't, because in the end, depending on when you use it, can either make or break you.
I think an all-female cast for a Survivor game is that's an accomplishment in and of itself. We don't even need to see the gameplay at that point. If that comes to fruition, that's incredible.
We all know that it's harder to pull women into a single game. So to hear that there's a possibility of an all-women's Survivor game is really intriguing. I would love to see how that plays out and how these women are ultimately going to have to play each other.
We could definitely have an all-women's season to balance those numbers out.
the possibility of a future all-female game is really fun. I think that it kind of really changes a lot of things because there's always a male-female dynamic in alliances and numbers, and all of that kind of goes out the window. So having an all-female group will be, I think, really fun.
You know, Amanda being the only female competitor to ever win a Survivor Durant just speaks to Amanda's competitive edge. You know, I love Amanda to death, and she is a competitor through and through.
We have had some super strong players that were women through our history. And statistically, if you have an all-female cast, you're going to add more to that collection.
In light of like season 1 being all men, and then the first season to ever hold a woman competitor, season 2, then Amanda would win. I think it would be really interesting in seeing a all-women's game for the 10-year anniversary to that.
You were the first woman to win Survivor Durant.
I was.
You won the second game. And fast forward almost 10 years later.
Oh my gosh.
And this spring is the 10-year anniversary of the game that you won.
That's
It's been
wild.
10 years, and still you are the
Only female?
only female to ever win.
Why is that?
So this spring, what we're going to do for the next season of Survivor Durant, all women players for the first time ever. For Survivor Durant's 13th season, get ready to stand in the light. And here to tell you about some of the game details, the creative force behind it.
I am the designer of season 13. The name of the season is the Road to Damascus, where the key concept of the game is exposure. We want to see what you do in the light, and this is obviously gets its root from the Gospels, the Bible, specifically the story of Saul converting to Paul on his road to Damascus, as God spoke to him, and the light shone, causing him to be blind. And then wherever he found the Lord, the scales fell from his eyes, and he was able to see again. And so the scales are going to have a heavy impact and going to be involved in the safety mechanic. And I look forward to seeing how the players will operate under this exposure.
And while Nate is working on Survivor Durant 13, I've been busy with Survivor Durant 14, coming this fall of 2026. I won't be sharing any details with you today about Survivor Durant 14. If you want the details, you'll have to show up to this year's Reindeer Games. But for now, here's a little clue. And our Survivor Durant roadmap ends in 2027 for All Stars 2.
Okay, spring of 2027, All Stars 2. I absolutely would play if asked to.
I am very intrigued by the announcement of All Stars Season 2.
It would take a real big life circumstance to probably keep me from wanting to play.
If asked to play, I would heavily consider it.
Good luck. I accidentally won, maybe you will too. And it's pretty fun. I think you just don't think about it too much, have a good time, manipulate your friends, and hopefully you walk away with friends. Maybe you will, maybe you won't.
I'm proud to say that I know these people and that it's been a pleasure to work with, against, for.
Guys, talk it up. Let people know. Stir people up who have, maybe heard of competitive games, heard of, gaming communities. There's nothing like the Survivor Durant community.
I would love to see Survivor Durant continue to grow over the next 10 years. I would love to see more people start playing and get introduced to the LRG world?
Oh man, the next 10 years, it's crazy to think that it could last that long.
What's come from to what it is now. Just think, if we're looking to the future being like what it will become, is just like, there's like almost no bounds.
I would love to see Survivor Durant go to other places. Like, wouldn't it be cool if Survivor Durant had like a one-on-one competition with another Survivor game LRG out there?
I am hoping that Survivor Durant for the next 10 years continues to be a place of love, laughter, fun, and primarily relationship building.
What's going to happen? You know, I believe it's growing and it's exciting. And I know as, you know, I'm growing older, and it's cool to see younger people show up and start to fill these seats. And so guys, keep playing.
We started out in just humble beginnings, just a group of friends playing a competitive game with each other, to now people coming from different countries, out of state, just having to drive, fly here. It's just outstanding.
I loved Survivor Durant, have loved Survivor Durant, and will continue to love and be thankful for Survivor Durant. You know, and I believe that God has grown this game. You know, we initially started this game as a missions fundraiser, that we would all put our money into a pool, and, you know, whoever won it would go towards, you know, whatever mission work that they were going to. And so, you know, I think the Lord took that in the relational aspect of it, and has grown it to this place now in a community that unfortunately is probably vastly unreached with the gospel, to now coming to a place where they can be met and loved by real people, still playing a real game. But a lot of that is for the purpose of building relationships that we can love one another as Christ has loved us. And it's been awesome to see Cheston's heart grow in this game, and how the Lord's even grown him, of like, how can I love people better? You know, like, not only how can I make a game that's enjoyable and fun, but how can I use the platform that God has given me to elevate the name of Jesus and to meet just people where they're at. You know, it's not about just pushing a worldview upon somebody, but really elevating the name and the love of Christ, that, you know, that people might be saved.
What I would like to see out of it is the continued growth of ministry and outreach, and letting people know why we're doing it and what the purpose is, and that's to spread Christ.
We have a universal problem, and that problem is that we have a holy and righteous God, that all of us, by the way that we have lived our life selfishly, we've rebelled against him. And because of that universal problem, there's a universal consequence. Romans 3:23 says, "For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God." Romans 6:23 says, "For the wages of sin is death." You know, the consequence of our actions is that we deserve to die. But God loves us so much. The end of Romans 6:23 says, "But the free gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus." You know, despite us separating ourselves from God by our willful actions, God has taken it upon himself to reveal his love to us in the person of Jesus, that he would lay his life down on our behalf that we may have life. Man, it's the story of the hero dying for the villain, and there's no greater love story ever told. And it's not just that we would be forgiven of sin and cleansed of shame and guilt, but it's more than that. It's that we would be extended a relationship by the creator of the cosmos, that we would have a heavenly Father who loves us and has mercy and grace for us and has promised to provide for us in this life. Even though there's hardship, even though there's heartbreak, that he is there with us and that he'll never leave us and nothing could ever take us from him. And so scripture says, for whoever would call upon the name of the Lord would be saved. My challenge to you, to the Survivor Durant community, but to heed the words that God sees you, even the deepest, darkest parts of you, and he loves you anyways. He loves you for who you are. He wants to redeem you. He wants to heal what's broken in you. And we do that by coming to Jesus. So my challenge to you would be to call upon the name of Jesus and experience the love that God has for us.
Hey, I was told this is like some video for like Survivor players, anniversary kind of stuff. Either way, happy anniversary / birthday to all the previous Survivor players and future Survivor players of Durant. Keep going, have fun, enjoy yourselves.